Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another goal making video. In this video, I'm going to talk about all the last minute things that you can do to prepare yourself for 9.1.5. The patch is coming very soon. This video is released on the Thursday, and this upcoming Tuesday will be the release of this patch. So you can't really do much to prepare at this point. However, I'm just going to cover a few things which you should either do now, hold off, or just some things that you can do easily right now. As always, before we get started, I do want to say that if you are a non-gold maker clicking on this video, you can still learn some very valid things from this. However, my channel is focused on gold making, so a lot of these points will be tailored to that. Also, if you guys are new here, consider liking and subscribing if you enjoy my content. Also, joining the Discord down below. We just hang out in there. You can ask your questions. I also offer a lot of free TSM profiles and groups, so feel free to check that out if you want. But without further ado, we are going to get right into it. So right off the bat, before we get into the goal making specific stuff, there are two things which I want to point out. And that is, if you haven't already and you want to take advantage of the patch with the Covenant stuff on the first day, you will want to hit Renown level 80. 80 is the current max Renown level, and hitting 80 before, patch day, that will just allow you to do the Covenant swapping freely and all of that type of stuff, the new added stuff whenever patch releases. So still, if you guys are a little bit further off, I believe I'm still in the 60s, so I'm definitely not going to hit that 80 mark before Tuesday, but, if you guys haven't already or you're really close to, you might as well try to hit it this weekend if you have some free time. Also, the second non-gold making thing I want to talk about is that you should still be collecting anima. I know a lot of people have kind of put their progression or their ult progression or any type of progression on hold because they're just waiting for the quality of life changes or the bonuses to come with 9.1.5, but there is really no increase of anima. So still going out this weekend, collecting all the anima you can so you can use it whenever you transfer Covenants. You can also send it to ults in 9.1.5, and you can still just use it for all of your transmog and all of your collectibles needs. So if you guys are trying to hold off with progression, definitely collecting anima is still very worth it. But with those quick two things out of the way, we are now going to get into the goal making stuff. And the first 2 points that we're going to be talking about is just going to be general gold making things. So the first one is that there are new druid forms or glyphs coming with this patch. Now, these forms are crafted in two ways. One of the ways is actually using Legion inscription, which means that you will need the Legion pigment in order to craft these glyphs. And with that being said, if you guys do have cheap Dreamleaf or any of the preferred herb that you use to mill, you should pick it up now before the patch. Now, I say Dreamleaf because that's generally always the best and the cheapest to go about, but also Fellwort if you can pick up some for cheap as well. Normally, the hype of the patch, whenever you can actually create these forms and people are going to want them, that means that all of the crafters are going to be buying up materials, and that price will probably increase. And since these are old world materials, that means that potentially there won't be any more on the auction house, at least at a decent price. So with that being said, if you can score some cheap Dreamleaf, of course, if it's, 200% market value, 300%, you probably shouldn't pick it up unless it's, reasonable to you. But there's a chance that not a lot of people have been thinking about this, and picking this up if you want to do the Legion glyphs, definitely worth it. Now, the second glyphs are actually a part of Shadowlands, which means it's the same concept. You will need the inks from Shadowlands in order to craft these. So I highly recommend, like I said before, buying cheap herbs now, and you can already mill them, have them ready to go by Tuesday, and then you can craft those forms and sell them on the auction house. Generally, a lot of people will be buying Death Blossom to make sure they have enough ink to make these new glyphs, so if you can pick them up cheap now, you don't have to worry about a price increase whenever Tuesday happens. Keep in mind that there are material changes happening, but herbs are not included. So herbs will not be getting an increase in drop rate. So you should not expect herbs to drop in price. You should actually probably expect them to potentially increase in price during patch day. So just prepare for that, definitely if you want to get into these glyphs. Now, the second one is not directly related to the patch, but this is Thursday, and that means it is the 28th of October, and on Monday, which is the 1st of November, we will be losing the Hollow's End event. The Hollow's End event is the Halloween event, and I actually have a previous video talking about the whole event and how you can make gold from it. But what this means is that the pets and toys that you can either farm or purchase off the auction house will be going away. You cannot farm them and you cannot buy them from the vendor anymore. So if you're trying to flip them, buying the cheap toys now, buying the cheap pets now, definitely you want to do that before Monday. I know I'm on a few servers and I was able to pick up some of the Naxi pets for about 20k each, and already I'm trying to sell them for about 40 to 50k. And I was also able to pick up 2 of the widget cats for about 30k, and on average I've sold those for about 80k as well on my NA servers. So I've already picked up some pretty good deals. I'm going to be looking out this weekend to see if anything else comes up, but just keeping in mind that the Hollow's End event is going away, definitely take advantage of that. Moving on to the alt related stuff. Now technically you can count this as non-gold making or gold making, but be ready to level your alts if you are planning to utilize them in Shadowlands. If you guys have not already gotten all the professions available in Shadowlands because you don't have enough characters leveled up, what the patch is bringing is the biggest thing really is the Maw skip. So you will not have to do that Maw intro every single time. So technically, as long as you have a level 48, instantly skip that, get inside of Orbos, learn your professions, level them up, and you're good to go. So if you guys are waiting for that to level your ults, make sure they are at that level 48 mark if you want to utilize them as quick as possible and get them inside of Orbos for your professions. If you guys haven't even thought about leveling characters, you might want to, because actually the Dark Moon Fair will be this week. So the same week that patch releases, it is going to be the Dark Moon Fair. So that's pretty exciting. You can utilize the fair for that boost of XP, as well as the different, alt friendliness changes with Shadowlands with this patch, and you can try to get some ults leveled up. Now, I think I'm going to try to level some of my tunes to 60. We'll see how that goes, but this is a pretty good week to do so. And lastly, we have the Legendaries category, and this is really for anybody who has any interest in Legendaries or is currently crafting them. So, within the past week, personally on my server and potentially on your server, Legendary prices have been very weird. A lot of people are starting to kind of crash the prices to kind of anticipate the next patch. So a lot of things have gone under crafting value, and sometimes the prices have actually increased. So with 9.1.5, they are introducing legendary recycling, which means people are going to be able to get all of their soul cinders and soul ash back if they want to get rid of a legendary that they don't use anymore. Also, Torghast will no longer have a weekly cap on soul cinders / ash, so people can run Torghast as much as they want per week or per day, and, basically get as much cinders as they want for legendaries. So what this means is that there will probably be a surge of legendary sales because people are going to be more open to buying them or buying multiple of them. But that also means that you might see some new competition, and because of the mat changes, which I'll talk about in just a second, the price of these legendaries will probably decrease. Also, if you think about it, anybody can farm as much cinders as they want, so people will probably target either the rank 6s, or potentially if they're farming ash, they might go for rank 4. But anything 4 and below, which has already been pretty irrelevant, it's probably not going to have any good sales, and rank 5s will probably have a decrease in sales as well, because everybody will just be able to get enough cinders for a rank 6. With that being said, moving on to the price changes, the big ones is that Callous Hide and Heavy Callous Hide is getting increased drop chance by 20%. Lightless Silk is also getting an increase by 20%. And mining ore, all ores, including Elythium, is also being increased by 20%. What this means is that they're going to be a lot easier to get. There will be a lot more on the auction house, which will drive that price down, ultimately driving the legendary prices as well. So I really do not think you have to stockpile any of these items. Potentially, if you do want to stockpile, herbs will be your best bet, but that is not for legendaries. That's for either inscription or alchemy. Also, the prospecting essences with joy crafting is increasing by 10% as well. So this means if you guys are a joy crafter legendary seller like myself, I highly recommend holding off on prospecting all of your Elythium ore if you have extra laying around, because on Tuesday you will be getting a 10% increase of total essences. Now, I also believe that you should hold off on buying Elythium as well, because that increase by 20% will also slowly drive that Elythium ore price down. But I know a lot of people like myself kind of stockpile Elythium ore if it's cheap. So if you have some sitting in your mail or in your bags that you haven't prospected yet, I highly recommend waiting a little bit. Definitely if you already have some rings in stock. And you know, if you're like my server, then the prices of these rings and everything has already gone down a bit. So it's really not worth, trying to prospect and get some quick sales before the patch releases. So just be mindful of those mat changes, especially if you are trying to stockpile or you're just trying to craft legendaries. Expect price drops because of the increased drop rate for these items. But to quickly recap, because I did talk really fast, you want to try to hit Renown level 80 if you're trying to take advantage of the nice Covenant switches on day 1 of patch. You also want to maintain collecting anima if you are somebody who wants to upgrade the other Covenants or any type of cosmetics. Also, if you plan to do any of the new glyphs with the druid forms for inscription, be sure to buy cheap herbs now. Take advantage of that if people haven't bought them up already. Mainly talking about Death Blossom / Nightshade, and then also talking about Dreamleaf and Fellwort. Also, keep in mind that the Dark Moon Fair will be starting and the Hollow's End event will be ending. So taking advantage of both of those, buying cheap pets and toys, and leveling up your ults is very beneficial. Lastly, remember the mall skip is happening. Take advantage of that. Get your ults into Ouroboros. Get those professions up and running to make yourself more gold. And lastly, beware of the legendary market. It is going to be a little bit crazy because of the different imbalances with the materials. The prices will be fluctuating, but potentially there will be an increased demand, which we will see how that adds up. But I highly recommend do not stockpile unless you're talking about shrouded cloth or herbs. Also, if you have Elythium ore hanging around or lacerite ore, do not prospect it yet because you want to get that 10% increase whenever Tuesday comes around. But yeah, guys, that is basically it. I hope you guys enjoy these more of talking videos. Let me know if you kind of like these videos with me talking and there's visuals on screen, kind of with just a nice background, or if you like the more hands-on, like me opening up the auction house, a lot less of like a pretty background type of stuff. So just let me know how you enjoyed this. Also, let me know how you enjoyed the length or anything. Just give me your feedback. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to join that Discord. Also, you can support me on Patreon if that's something you want to do. But thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, have a good day.